One Piece Chapter 1010 dropped one of the biggest reveals, a power that separates the top tiers from the rest of the world of Conqueror's Haki. And it's still kind of surreal to me because for such a long time, Conqueror's Haki has been built up to be this absolutely unique power that only 1 in a few million are even born with. But for most of the story, all it's done is generate some cool lightning effects and fodder control. But we all knew it had to be more. This Supreme King's Haki couldn't just be that, and in this chapter, Oda finally gave us the details. So I want to go through and break down everything we know about Conqueror's Haki, anything that could be related to it, how exactly you could utilize it, who could possibly have it, and a lot more. But very quickly, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you're subscribed because I'm absolutely hyped from this last chapter. I'm gonna put out a lot more content in the next week. Also, if you're having a good time, drop a like because it really does help. But anyways, Conqueror's Haki has finally been revealed, which I don't feel like the fact that there is an advanced level many people are surprised about. A lot of people have been speculating about this, especially recently because Oda has been kind of dropping hints, and that hasn't only happened in the manga but also other mediums. Like, a lot of people quickly noticed that in the video games, characters like Shanks and Odin use these red lightning attacks that seem like Conqueror's Haki. So yeah, most people expected there to be this advanced level, but I don't think many people saw it coming this quickly, besides of course Mr. Morge. But yeah, Oda has been dropping a lot of hints about this, and the biggest hint that he dropped was Roger versus Whitebeard. That legendary clash where you can literally see the Haki leaking off of their swords, of course leading to this clash where their swords don't even touch. That was the first time we saw anything like that within the story, and many of us connected it to Conqueror's Haki right away. Because first off, it's Roger and Whitebeard, you would expect something like that from them. But second of all, it created this massive amount of pressure which we many times see during Conqueror's Haki clashes. So most people did think that was Conqueror's Haki, but it wasn't confirmed within the story yet. It was still possible that it was just this very advanced version of Armament Haki. But of course, in this chapter, it does get confirmed that was Conqueror's Haki because we see Luffy do it himself. As he hits Kaido with this devastating 1-2 with the bus driver uppercut, he doesn't touch his body at all, which leads to this Law shocked Pikachu face. But let's be honest, all of us were Law this chapter. But yet this ability to hit people without your attacks actually hitting them is revealed to be coating yourself with Conqueror's Haki. And Luffy actually reveals the first time that Kaido hit him with Thunder Bagua, Kaido used this ability. Now this is really interesting because the first time we saw Thunder Bagua in the manga, it was just so quick we didn't see it hit him. But if Kaido used Conqueror's Haki there, he probably didn't need to hit him in the first place. So Oda used Kaido's speed here very cleverly to hide the fact that Kaido didn't even need to make contact with Luffy. He kind of did that again in this chapter where Kaido just runs through Law and Zoro like a train, once again hitting both of them with Thunder Bagua, but we don't actually see the attack landing. But back to this advanced application of Conqueror's Haki, before Luffy kind of figures out how to do it, he starts thinking back to his Ryo training with Hyogoro, and he's thinking about how Hyogoro talked about using Haki to damage other people internally. So I feel like the fact that he thought back to that means that this application of Conqueror's Haki is very similar, but just probably a level up. And at the same time, the fact that Luffy specifically says you can coat yourself in Conqueror's Haki means that it could be used for defense as well. Now, while it doesn't get confirmed in this chapter, I do think this has something to do with Kaido's durability. Now, I don't think all of Kaido's durability boils down to Conqueror's Haki because he's taken a lot of damage eternally as well from different attacks like Law and Killers. But I do think part of the reason he's so durable is because of Conqueror's Haki. And I also think this explains why Big Mom is so durable as well. She's incredibly durable as well, referred to as this iron balloon, but when Mother Caramel's picture got smashed, she became incredibly weak to the point she could just scrape her knee on the ground. So because of that, I think it makes perfect sense for her to also be using Conqueror's Haki for her own durability. So pretty much most of the time she's incredibly durable, but when her mind is weak and her spirit and her will is gone, her durability essentially goes away. Some people also talked about Shanks' scar that he got from Blackbeard because Shanks is a person that many people believe know Conqueror's Haki. So thinking about it that way, does that mean Blackbeard also has Conqueror's Haki to be able to damage Shanks in the first place? Now personally, I think right now there's really not enough information to kind of flesh that situation out. We don't know when exactly he got that scar from Blackbeard, so it could have been a very long time ago, but it would be pretty crazy to think about that Blackbeard without his 2 devil fruits was able to use Conqueror's Haki. But right now I don't think there's enough information to go on, and I really want to emphasize, like, just just how strong Advanced Conqueror's Haki is. Because as Kaido said himself, only a handful of powerful individuals know how to use this. And I honestly believe the people that could use Advanced Conqueror's Haki are the strongest people in this world. Because not only are they the selected few that are even born with this power in the first place, but they're strong enough to elevate it to this level, which I think speaks a lot to what Luffy was actually able to accomplish in this chapter. Like in this chapter, it was finally revealed Zoro also has Conqueror's Haki and he used it to some extent in his attack against Kaido, but I don't think he used it the same way Luffy did, and he only kind of drew it out accidentally in his last final desperate attack, which honestly hypes up Zoro even more because he was able to do that much damage without Advanced Conqueror's Haki. For Zoro, I'm going to be doing a separate video on how he could advance his Conqueror's Haki, whether or not that has something to do with making a Black Blade, so make sure you're subscribed and be on the lookout for that. But yeah, I do think there's a clear separation of what Luffy did in this chapter versus what Zoro did. And I'm not trying to stir up a debate of Luffy versus Zoro, they are literally my two favorite characters within the story, but I think it's important to emphasize just how special Advanced Conqueror's Haki is. What Zoro did in this chapter, I feel like it's much more similar to the attacks we've seen of like Luffy versus Doflamingo, or even Luffy versus Chinjiao. Luffy, on the other hand, used an attack we've only seen from Kaido, Roger, and Whitebeard. In fact, when Whitebeard and Roger clashed and their blades didn't touch, even Oden was surprised. That means at the very least at that point, Oden didn't know how to use Advanced Conqueror's Haki. And we know that Oden has Conqueror's Haki and that he was incredibly strong. But the first time that he clashed against Whitebeard, while it did generate this massive amount of pressure, their blades still touched. So what Luffy just did in this chapter is absolutely insane, and I think that's why he's so confident. Because not only is he able to damage Kaido more now, he's also able to protect himself. Before he was just trying to figure out any way to hurt Kaido, but now against like Thunder Bagwas and any counterattacks, he should be able to hold himself. And although I think Luffy still has more ways to grow with applying it to his Devil Fruit, I think he's taken a massive step forward as far as strength goes, and he's gonna be able to take Kaido on 1v1. Because honestly, let's think about who can actually use Advanced Conqueror's Haki. The only people confirmed in the story so far are Whitebeard, Roger, Kaido, and Luffy. Now based off of different information we've seen so far, I think Big Mom and Shanks both have it as well. For different reasons as well, Big Mom with her durability, Shanks of course very connected to Conqueror's Haki, but also the fact that both of them clash with people that use Advanced Conqueror's Haki before, and they both were part of clashes that split the skies. Now some people actually think that might have happened in this chapter because Kid and Killer saw that the clouds were kind of moving, but I actually think that probably has something to do with Big Mom creating a new homie, because that happened before Zoro even launched his attack and well before Luffy even got back up. Plus Luffy splitting the skies, that's something we have to like very clearly see, and I think we will absolutely get to it, I just don't think we saw it in this chapter. But yeah, besides Big Mom and Shanks, I think the people Kaido thought back to a while back, all those people probably know it as well. Most people we mentioned already, but included in that group are Rox and Oden. Now Rox, I don't think it's any surprise that he would know how to use it, but Oden is an interesting one, because as I mentioned, when Roger and Whitebeard used it against each other, he had no idea what was going on. So I do feel like at that point he didn't know how to use it yet, but it's very possible that he learned it throughout his journeys. Now when he attacked Kaido with Paradise Totsuga, it's kind of hard to tell if he does make impact. It wasn't as clear as the panels we saw from like Roger and Whitebeard or Luffy in this chapter, so it could have been Advanced Conqueror's Haki, but we have really no way to confirm it for now. It would be kind of crazy that maybe he didn't know how to use it yet, but his armament Haki was just that strong. But yeah, I think it's definitely possible Oden had it as well, but besides him, I think there's only a very few amount of people that actually know it. Garp, I think, is one of those people. He's Garp the Fist, the person that fought against Roger so many times. I think it would make sense for him to have it. One interesting thing I think to point out is also the fact that he was the only one to hurt Marco straight up with a punch, and that might have been explained by what we learned in the last two chapters. Not only this chapter with Advanced Conqueror's Haki, but last chapter when Law mentioned that he couldn't use his Devil Fruit powers because of Kaido and Big Mom's Haki. Now he definitely could have just meant armament Haki, but from what we learned in this chapter, maybe it was Conqueror's Haki. But yeah, I feel pretty strongly about Garp having it. Some other people I feel pretty strongly about are Dragon and Mihawk, and possibly some other people as well, but that's all down to portrayal and their future roles in the story, and we could save this discussion for another day. We don't have to get into Shanks versus Mihawk yet. But yeah, pretty much everybody I mentioned that possibly has this power, they're the top tier of this world. So I cannot stress enough how incredible it is that Luffy has learned this on the fly. And again, that's why I think he's so confident, and that's why I do think he's gonna take on Kaido 1v1. Now, of course, he's not gonna have an easy time doing this. He's gonna take a lot of damage. I think he still has a lot of room to grow with incorporating it with his devil fruit powers. And let's not forget, he has an advantage here because Kaido has taken so much damage already. And don't sleep on Big Mom because she could still be a massive problem later. But yeah, Luffy has taken a massive step forward, and with this, I think Oda is making it very clear that the Straw Hats are heading towards endgame. And I'm gonna leave you guys with this question here. Do you think Luffy is stronger than Sabo now? Because Luffy and Sabo, a lot of people saw them as neck and neck, and at this point, I think he might have surpassed them. But yeah, definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments below and any other thoughts you have about Advanced Conqueror's Haki. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna be doing a Zoro Conqueror's Haki video soon. I'm excited to talk more about the Straw Hats and how quickly they're gonna grow as well. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel with the notifications turned on. But as always, thank you guys for watching. If you had a good time, make sure to hit that like button because it really does help. Thank you to all my King Pirates Elite members on YouTube and Patreon for supporting the channel. Be sure to follow me on Twitter. I'm DZack, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!